We have music.
So everybody wants a Windows PC that boots faster, that has a battery that lasts longer, that has great graphics, display, visuals, touch, sensors, and fits into the thinnest, lightest form factors ever. Let me show you some of the advancements we're making in Win 8. So Windows 8 supports PCs of the widest possible range. ARM processors, 600 processor servers with 4 terabytes of RAM. Go ahead and fire this one up.
Yeah, Airport X-Ray gave me a hard time with this one.
Yeah, this is an enthusiast system that's built with AMI firmware. It's kind of an extreme system. But the last time I did a boot demo was when we launched Windows 7. We had an Acer that booted in 15. Oh, it's almost faster than the monitor can turn on. That's UEFI fast boot. That was a full cold boot. That wasn't hibernate. That wasn't anything.
Actually, most of the time, we're just the fan spinning up on this thing.
It can start faster than the fan sometimes. And it's not just reserved, like UEFI performance isn't just for big, crazy, powerful systems. This is the PC that you blogged about in the boot performance blog. And, you know, when you see it start up, you see that you don't have, like, BIOS screens flashing like DOS characters and stuff. 8 seconds. This is an in-market, shipping today PC.
This is a Windows 7 PC.
It's a Windows 7 PC in market today, but UEFI is really important because it's not just about speed and having a boot that looks better, it's about security too. So I'm going to boot this PC, except I'm going to do it from this infected USB key. This has got a rootkit virus on it, which is a really nasty piece of malware because you boot from it and your machine would be owned before any software-based security could possibly keep up, but not with UEFI. I'm going to put it in here. Say boot from USB. And you can see it booting. Probably see it flashing. Boom. That's it. Invalid signature. And so what happened was UEFI checked the boot volume. It had been compromised. And now I'm going to turn this off and turn it back on, and it'll be right back to normal. This is just one of the security features that we have in the product.
Yeah, there's tons of security features. Like if this machine also had been using BitLocker, then you can't even rip the drive out and use it in other places. So a full range of security software. In fact, one of the things that we've got in Windows 8 is we've taken Defender and we've actually built a whole new range of protection all the way up through anti-malware, antivirus. All of that is built into Defender should you want to choose to use it, or you could use your own security software. But when I showed you that working set earlier, that 281 meg, antivirus was running in there as well.
And this is actually an encrypted drive while it's running, so the security's everywhere. So it's good stuff because all Windows 8 PCs will be faster and more secure as a result. And there's a whole new class of Windows 8 PCs that are going to come into existence based on the new advancements in SoC hardware.
Yeah, and so like the job of OS is really to abstract out all the hardware for you so that you can take advantage of all the unique hardware. And as I said earlier, what we really want to do is make sure that the unique value of each hardware also shines through in Windows, whether it's graphics cards or system on a chip or any of the hardware. And so we've got some cool demos of some ARM hardware here.
Yeah, ARM and SoC hardware combined. This is a Qualcomm ARM reference design. This is the one we showed at Computex. It's an 8660 Snapdragon. It's hooked up to this debugging system here that's measuring power really accurately. And what's going on this monitor is you can actually see the amount of power being used. It's very low. The system's not off. It's in a new power state called connected standby, which is a really low power idle state. You can see these little spikes that show up here. What's going on is Windows is coalescing all of the timer requests and all of the network requests, turning the radio on briefly, updating the apps, and then shutting the radio back down. So when I turn the system on, it turns on with one click, well, or two, depending on if you have demo gremlins. The system's on. You can see the power jumps right up. It's an instant on type scenario because it was never off. I can interact with the system here, and you can see the power kind of changes as we're rendering and we're drawing on the screen. And then when I go to turn it off, I click it. Immediately the power drops down. What's going on right there is the apps get a chance to pack up their data, and then it's shutting down, and then it immediately drops back to idle. That's the kind of system.
Yeah. I mean, so when we talk about fundamental performance, that's what we're talking about. We're actually taking the things that you experience like in phones, and we're bringing that to the PC architecture at the base kernel level.
And it's one of the things that all of these SoC systems will be able to do. If you go to the Understanding Connected Standby session, you'll see the same power demo running on the NVIDIA Tegra 3. We showed, like, it was 9 months ago at CES. It was the first time we showed ARM booting at all. And all it could do is, like, just boot Windows 8 up to the desktop and, like, one touch.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like a motherboard demo.
We've made a lot of progress since then. We've got everything running here. We've got fast graphics, the kinds of apps that Julie was running. They're all the exact same apps I can go back to the beginning. I can launch another app.
60-finger touch running on this prototype hardware.
Yeah, it's fast, it's performant. They're the same build of those apps running here, the same build of those apps running on this TI system. This is an OMAP system, a 4430. And for the first time, no one's seen this one yet. This is an Intel system. This is an Intel 32-nanometer Atom-based SoC development vehicle. I don't know if they're working on the name yet, but they're working on the power.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool. Our partnership with Intel is great, and we're really excited to be able to show you that the progress that they're making on all of this kind of low-power work as well.
From SoC to high-power systems. I have a couple high-power systems here, too. So that performance thing is at both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Tiny systems and enthusiast systems. So this is an HP enthusiast system. It's called the Phoenix. It's going to be announced later this week, the full specs. Obviously, it's just announced now. But what I've got here is a USB 2.0 3.0 demo. So this has 2 drives inside of it. The one on top that I have open is USB 2, and the one on the bottom is USB 3. Now I'm going to copy a 1 gigabyte. I'm going to select and copy. Sorry, I've got to stay out of the way of the camera. A 1 gigabyte file here, and you can see the new progress indicator. And while that's copying, I'm going to grab a 1 gigabyte file from my USB 3 drive and show how much faster USB 3 copies. So that's like.
And we built this in. This is built in with a class driver, so you don't have to worry about finding all the drivers. We've done a lot of work to make sure that this works everywhere.
It does, and it works on all kinds of systems. I mean, this is a 3 terabyte drive that I put into that system. Windows 7, you could boot from up to a 2 terabyte drive. Windows 8, you can boot from a 256 terabyte drive, which it's like science fiction or something.
Yeah, I got one of those in the back.
Well, you know, the reason that that's actually important is because while this drive seems enormous, it costs me less than $150 to buy and drop into that system. So these things are going to be coming soon. Another system that's a little bit extreme is my DX11 graphics system. I love this thing.
This is great. This is like ice over here.
Well, it's not like ice. It's like lava, actually, up top. Because what I have is I have 3 NVIDIA GTX 580s, DX11 graphics card, 3. They're linked together, they're running in SLI mode, hooked up to all the water cooling. But what this system is capable of doing on DX11 is turning about 700 watts of electricity into about 4.7 teraflops of computing power.
How many teraflops is that?
So that's like a woodchuck. Yeah, if you remember that giant Cray supercomputer, like the XPM or something.
Yeah, like with the big tower and the
nitrogen and stuff. It would take 2,500 of those supercomputers to do the same amount of processing you can offload to those graphics cards. It's actually,
and it's just Windows.
It's just Windows running off. But that sounds crazy, but it's actually useful. With the Direct Compute API, you can offload any kind of massively parallel calculation, scientific calculation, modeling, all to that. And
research labs are filled with machines like this.
Sure, and dorm rooms, because they're also awesome for the most unbelievably realistic and violent games you've ever seen. This is a technology demo here. This is a technology demo from Epic. It's using the Unreal Game Engine, which is all DX11 powered, and this camera doesn't do it justice at all. If you get up really close to that screen, you can not only see incredible levels of detailing, but the physics are all rendered in real time, and the whole rest of the world that's off camera is shown in a reflection in his eyes.
It's like smoke. The thing is unbelievable.
It really is. It really is amazing. You can see the wireframe for the tessellation. You can really understand the power of the graphics. But what's really important with Windows 8 is because DX hardware is so prevalent in the entire ecosystem, we built all of Windows 8 on a hardware-accelerated graphics platform. So the reason that the UI is fast across this whole line is that everything has hardware-accelerated graphics, including the apps. So you write a Metro-style app, it's got graphics.
Right, all the transitions, all the graphics, all hardware-accelerated,
yeah.
Which we started in IE9.
Yeah.
And really baking that into the platform at the native code.
I think they like that.
Sounds good.
Hardware-accelerated graphics, no extra work, just write the app, and it runs from ARM all the way up to a system like this. Now, there's another place that we are working with the ecosystems around displays. So one of the things you might notice across all of these displays is that they've got touch and they're widescreen. So first, let's talk about touch for a second. When we were at Computex, I did this demo where I showed first pixel sensitivity. You know, you've seen this on all-in-ones, you've seen this on tablets. That's how the Windows UI comes up. Because what we wanted to do is get to the point where Windows only had to reserve 1 pixel around the boundaries to activate all of the UI. And so that left more area here for the apps to take control.
So I wasn't quite clear. You don't get every single pixel. We do reserve 1 pixel.
Yeah, off by 1.
Off by 1.
Typical developer error. So there's more about touch that you can learn at these sessions. We have tools and we have tests, and I'll show you one of the tests that we run back in Redmond, where we're working with partners to make just the touch sensor glass go a lot faster. Here, Stephen, you can pick this guy up for the camera. I'll give you the robotic finger.
This is the robotic finger.
It's a finger that's attached to a robot that goes and touches the glass in very specific places that we know about randomly and tracks motion. And this is a PC board that has a clock that's synchronized with the clock on the PC. Let me show you how it works. So go ahead and touch that to the screen.
So this is my robot finger.
Yeah. And what's going on is it's sampling at over 100 times a second. It runs for about 10 seconds. It collects a bunch of data, knowing where we touched and knowing where the screen responded. And because it's testing the hardware, it takes all of the software variables out of the equation. And we get a bunch of log files and important data that our partners use to make better touch hardware. And that benefits everyone because touch is across such a wide range of systems. You have to be able to trust that it's good to write an app that uses it. Another place that you notice these displays in common, they're widescreen. I mentioned that. We're working with display vendors on trying to make the best possible experience for Metro-style apps on next-generation displays. Now, the important thing to know is if a screen can run Windows 7, it can run Windows 8 desktop apps 100% of the time.
So 100%. So all that compatibility, even down to 1024 by 600, all your desktop apps continue to run on Windows 8.
Which was even below the system requirements.
It was, yeah.
But we run on it anyway. But what happens is if you go to 1024 by 768, you get Metro-style apps. If you have at least 1366 pixels across, you can do that side-by-side app stuff that Julie was showing you. And if you have 1366 by 768, you get all of the Windows UI with no compromises, and that's independent of aspect ratio.
Right. So we work on all, 16 by 9, 16 by 10. As long as you have 1024 by 768 Metro apps run, and as long as you have 1366Y, then you can get the side-by-side snapping.
Right, in any form or shape or size. So we talked a little bit about the touch sensor. There are some other sensors that Windows 8 both supports and exposes to developers. So this PC has a 3-axis accelerometer, it's got a magnetometer, and it's got a gyro. And you need to use all 3 of those in combination to make an app that responds like this. Let's see if you can. It's just a very simple steering wheel turning app. But what's going on? That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you what's actually exciting about that app, is that if you were to write code to try to combine the output from all 3 of those sensors yourself, you'd be time synchronizing the data and then doing math. It's complicated, but we've got a sensor fusion API, a single API that combines the output of all of those sensors. To connect to those sensors and get the full orientation, it's 3 lines of code. That's Visual Studio, 3 lines of code.
Again, part of the Windows runtime works across all the languages as well.
It does. There is another sensor I want to talk about, which is the Near Field Communication Sensor, or NFC. So Julie showed you sharing between 2 applications and how powerful that is. We have tap-to-share scenarios between 2 PCs, too, and it's based on an antenna. In this case, it's in the back of this PC. I can take this tagged card that goes to the build website. I put it here. I can touch the notification. Did that show up okay? And then you can go right to the build website. So whether it's interacting with objects or interacting across PCs, NFC is also exposed, and there are some sessions that show you how to take advantage of that.
That card had an antenna in it, and it is the NFC card.
There are a lot of other devices, too, that require software to really complete the experience. Today, whether it's a sensor that's inside the PC or an external peripheral like a printer or webcam, you have to write a lot of software. And it's not always software that you want to write. It's got to have its own installer, its own updater. And most importantly, it has to find a way to go in sync with the Windows UI, either trying to replace it or kind of run alongside it.
These are these applets that come on a system, and there's a control panel, there's a notification tray, there's things in the start menu, things on the desktop, all just to get your device to work. And so we've really worked hard with the ecosystem to improve that situation.
Right. We want to make those apps Metro-style apps. We want the functionality,
right,
but we want customers to be able to have unified notifications, easier distribution for you, and full access to the underlying system, including integration into the UI. So I'll show you the first example. This is a Microsoft webcam, one of our HD webcams, and all of our HD webcams are going to ship with these new device apps. So you saw Julie before change her user tile, going to the webcam app,
Now you can see
Oh my God.
this is a little difference between Mike and Julie here.
Not flattering light. But because I have a device app, I can go here to where it says more options, and I can see all of these special effects that come included. It's tracking my head around. And there's my user tile. Now, the thing that was cool there is that it was right in the UI, right where you expected it to be. You didn't have to go to a second place. You didn't have to find it. Smoothly integrated, and it's a Metro app, so you get all the rest of the benefits of that platform. Another example is this a printing app. So I have a simple app here that will print out a paper airplane that we wrote just to show this. I go to Devices, and when I go to print to this HP printer, they created a device app. So I get the standard print experience. I go here to more settings, and finally you can get all of the control of your printer right from within print. You don't have to go to a special place, you don't have to go anywhere else, and
there's an opportunity here.
There is. The opportunity, if you go into their full version of that app, you can see your ink cartridge is low, here's where you can buy more ink, here's where HP as a partner can show off their own cloud printing services. So the full opportunity is there, it's just done with as much work as Antoine showed to write one of these apps. One of the places where these device apps becomes really, really helpful is with connectivity.
Yeah.
So if you have a 3G PC today, you probably have a second connection manager that you have to manage it, passwords in 2 places, and the bars don't even match. So now you can create a Metro-style app to do device connectivity. So this PC that I've shown you is on AT&T's 3G network.
So it has a built-in 3G card.
It does.
That is connected up right now to AT&T.
At the very top, you can see it says connected. Try not to have it glare. When I touch it, I can get some information that auto-populates, 5 megabytes in the last day. View my account, there's a link right above it, and turning sideways. And what that does is it launches that full AT&T app. And so that app shows me all of my data, it shows me all my personal info, and I can go manage my account. But check this out. The same exact PC I have here with a European SIM in it. So this is a Vodafone account. But of course, Vodafone is European, so here it shows AT&T, but would be roaming. Now, I don't want to connect on a roaming network just to do things like see my account balance or top up my minutes. But I can go to view my account.
Because we've worked a lot, because that sticker shock is really a bad deal.
You don't want that surprise. So here is the Vodafone account where I can click top up and I can go get more minutes. And what's really cool here is all of that communication was done using a network protocol called USSD. So it's a sideband frequency that does all of that connection without making an IP data connection. So that didn't roam, and I could buy minutes and do all of that, all from within the app.
Awesome. And within all the Windows runtime, we've done a bunch of work so that you could roam to Wi-Fi internet cafes, all seamlessly. So there's a lot of work built into that connectivity, which is abstracted out for your developers.
Yeah, it's abstracted out for developers, and it's one of the places where developers working together with hardware partners can really differentiate their experiences right in line. Another place where our partners are doing some really cool differentiation is on new PC form factors. So I've got 3 PCs here. These are all Windows 7 PCs. They've been announced. You can't get them yet. They're shipping soon. Intel calls these Ultrabooks. And the reason they do that is because these are PCs with a full core-powered processor in a super thin and light package. So each one of these things is really amazing. Here's an example. This one will resume from sleep as fast as you can open the lid. This one that Steven's holding, go ahead. This is really a sharp PC. This one that Steven has is all aluminum. We showed this one for the first time in the Microsoft keynote at Computex. It's brushed on the bottom. You can get these are like thin. They're thin. These are good PCs. Here's another one that's pretty extraordinary. This is a Toshiba. This one is made out of a magnesium alloy honeycomb space frame inside.
Wait, say that again.
It's engineering for cool.
Okay.
It's a super light, it's super stiff, it has no flex to it. When I close this PC, feel this.
This is
under
awesome.
2.5 pounds.
It's like nothing.
Yet it's absolutely
super rigid. Actually, this is super cool. This is what the folks at Toshiba did. It's actually thinner than the RGB and RJ45 connectors.
Yeah, level F. They actually have to bump out. It's thinner than legacy connectors. This is amazing. The reason PCs can get that thin and that good is because of the new levels of integration that are going on at the motherboard level. So I'll take one of these Samsung PCs you've seen so many times, open it up, which I opened before, take out the battery, but what you'll see is that the battery is actually bigger than the computer. These things are now mostly battery. On this one simple card, I have a full power PC. That's a Core i5, 4 gigs, big solid state disk, integrated 3G wireless WAN, all of the sensors and something that's like the size of a couple of playing cards. And that's what you would see if you opened up these PCs. They're now just mostly batteries. One tiny integrated motherboard, and you have the entire Windows PC.
Wow, we are just, the work that our OEMs are doing is just incredibly cool. I mean, in all of these different form factors, and all of these are going to be great Windows 8 machines. And that's one of the most important things about what we're doing in terms of being able to support the broadest range of types of scenarios and form factors for computing.
It's both because of the investments that our OEM partners are making and because of closer cooperation with us. So, of course, you've seen this. I don't know if you guys like it. I'm hoping to get one. This is a quiet the room has been all day. This is a PC that we made together with Samsung. They invited us into their factories. We started with the shipping Series 7 design, and we did a bunch of work together. We worked with a partner called Atmel, who works on the touch controller and the display kind of integration. We worked with AT&T and Option to do the 3G module. We worked with ST Micro to do the sensor fusion package. We worked with a lot of partners here, and as a result, we've got BIOS that posts in 3 seconds. It's worked from AMI, a super thin power adapter. And this PC has been really useful to us internally as we've been developing Windows 8.
Wow. How many of them did they make?
Well, I was told it's not polite if you don't bring it up to share. So I got 5,000 in a warehouse next week.
Wow. Okay, that was a little bit fun. So, we call this the Samsung Windows Developer Preview PC. This is a super interesting PC for you guys. Actually, we're going to give them away in 7 minutes, the first 100 people. So, no, don't do that. Later today, there'll be signs up, all that kind of stuff. But this is a PC for you, developers. This is a PC that will allow you to experience a Windows tablet and a development platform at the same time. Now think of how cool that is. You're building an app, you're trying it out, you're laying on the couch, you're trying it out, and then you hit a bug. Well, what do? You just go into Visual Studio and you debug it right there on that machine. And you can do that because it's running a second-generation Core i5 in that tiny little package. It's got this awesome Samsung Super PLS screen. When you see it up close, you're going to be blown away. It's like at 170 degrees, you can see everything on that screen. The folks at AT&T have done an amazing thing for you. They've included 1 year, 2 gigabytes a month of 3G access with this device. And as Mike rattled off, it's got UEFI, it's got 4 gigs of RAM, that's so you could run Visual Studio, it's a 64 gig SSD, it's got an array of sensors. It's got all the 3D sensors and also the near-field communication sensor. It's got a USB port, a full-size USB, a micro SD port, a micro HDMI port. It supports the pen because it has a pen digitizer. Also, something that you might not be able to see is right over here, it's got a dock. And that dock, you just pop it in and it's charging with the same charger that you could use mobile. And that dock has a USB port, so you could attach a mouse and a keyboard. It's got external HDMI with a full-size connector, so you could run dual monitor from this machine. It also has Ethernet port, so you could remote debug it. It's just, and all of that is in an 11.6-inch diagonal, 909 gram, 12.9 millimeter package. It's a machine for developers. Now, what is it loaded with? It's loaded with the developer preview of Windows 8 for you to use. So think of it this way. You've got developer preview software with developer preview hardware. You can use the platform and develop on it at the same time. The image on this machine has all these sample apps and SDK apps you've seen. It's got all the tools that you saw Antoine use. And it also is imaged with what we call our recovery environment. Because, well, this is a preview. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about recovery, but it's a whole new way to restore your machine to the pristine new state that you're going to receive it later today. So I hope you enjoy that. It's a pretty cool machine, but it's a real way to experience the developer preview of Windows 8 with some preview hardware as well. So what did we just see from Mike? We saw a hardware platform that runs smaller and faster on the widest range of hardware. We showed native SoC implementations from Intel, from NVIDIA, from TI, from Qualcomm. We showed that you could write your applications in the tools that we're showing for Metro-style apps and have them run seamlessly across that entire hardware platform. And we provided integrated support for a broad range of new mobile peripherals, as well as a lot of other peripherals like USB 3 and a whole bunch of other stuff you're going to learn about later this week. So a huge amount of innovation, very bold steps taken in improving the hardware ecosystem and in the hardware platform for Windows 8. So I think I want to show you one more thing. I bet a few of you are still a little bit skeptical. So I'm going to squeeze in an extra demo here. I want to show you using Windows 8 as like a professional platform. Because, you know, if you're like me, you still have dual monitors, a mouse, a keyboard. You've got a lot of stuff going on. You're probably someone using professional tools. And so you want to understand that Windows 8 is going to be a great PC for you as well. And of course, everything that ran on a Windows 7 PC will run Windows 8 on that machine as well. So here I am on a machine. It's a big desktop parked out in the back, and it's a professional workstation like you would use for development. So the really important thing for running a professional workstation is being in charge of your PC, not having the PC control you. So we've made lots of improvements in that way. One of the things you're going to see is, right when I get to my logon screen, down at the bottom you're going to see your PC will start in 2 days to finish installing security updates. That's the only warning you get, this subtle, low-key warning. None of that pop-up with the countdown clock, warning, warning. You just see this nice Windows update. So I'm just going to sign on with a PIN, which is another way you can sign on with a 4-digit PIN. And now I'm running Windows 8. Now, of course, it works just the same with a keyboard and a mouse. Here I am scrolling super fast across all the apps. I can roll my mouse down into the corner and get the start menu that shows the same as Julie showed when you swipe in on the side. I'm just going to go ahead and start a couple apps here. I'm just going to show you fast and fluid. So I just start apps and I just keep running. And all you do is just keep starting those apps just like you would expect. But, you know, we're pros, so hey, how about Task Manager? So here's Task Manager that I've got up and running. I just did that with the keyboard like everybody knows how to do, and these are just the apps that are running. Now we've got this cool, nice new Task Manager that's designed for end users so that they can see what's really going on their machine and then just, you know, end task and kill off anything that's running errant. Well, what was that? You just saw that these applications are now suspended. Well, I just started those 4 Metro-style applications. And now, you know what? Those applications are not taking up any CPU cycles. They're not draining the battery at all. They're in a freeze-dried state because I can't see them. And that's an important part of the new platform. And that's one of the ways that we're going to get extended battery life is by supporting this. And you don't have to do any work. You just write your code, and the operating system kernel handles this. So what does this look like if you're a pro and you want to see some more stuff? Let's look at the new Task Manager. So this is the new Windows Task Manager. It's kind of given a facelift. We figure it's been about 20 years, so let's give it a shot. The first thing you'll see is you've got an immediate heads-up display with a visual representation of the amount of memory, CPU, disk, and network that any given application is using. Now, suspended applications remain loaded in memory, but you'll see they all have 0 CPU. So you can see that all the applications are available and they're grouped by background processes, Windows processes. You know, even fancy little touches we did, like you could end the task, and then if you're on Explorer, you could just restart it, because you know you can't make it go away forever. So we also show you performance. So here's a really cool view of how the performance is going to look with CPU, disk, memory. In fact, I could go here, I could start this, I could drag this file over to the desktop and start a copy with the new fancy copy dialog, and then you'll see the disk I/O just spike, and you've got this cool graphical presentation of how copying is going. In fact, I could hit pause, and then the disk I/O is going to drop in as well. And so a really cool way to take advantage of, oops, let me stop that. A really cool way to take advantage of the graphics and the rich UI presentation. This is a history of all of your apps, your Metro-style apps on the machine, and it shows how much CPU time over a course of history, network bandwidth, and also how much your live tiles are consuming in terms of bandwidth. And you can see, too, it's presented, and that's just a way you could go up to a friend's machine and see what the heck's going on, which is the app that might be causing some challenges. You've got some of those startup programs you're not sure of. Well, I don't have any on this machine, but if you did, you'd just see a list here, and then you could just manually disable them right here, right in the Task Manager. If you've got a server or multi-user machine, you can see all the running programs and the resource utilization grouped by users. I've got a full details view that's got all the stuff you want to see. You can hide and show columns. You can even right-click and go and do a search out on the web for a particular exe to see what it might be. And, of course, you've got the classic services view as well. So all in an effort to stay in control of your developer machine. By the way, I'm hitting the window key as I snap back and forth between the desktop and the Metro style apps. Now let's take a look at, or the start screen. Now let's take a look at the Metro style control panel, because I want to show a scenario about really being in control of your machine. So if you're like me, what you do is you have a machine, you do a clean install, and then you want to make sure you can revert back to a known state. And you've probably got a whole elaborate system of trying to put your files on the D drive and doing all this other stuff. We've got a new, bold way to think about how to do that. We have a new feature that's called reset and refresh. And here you are, it's to be able to refresh your PC without affecting any of your files. It's right here in the control panel. You go right here, you click Getting Started. Here's what's going to happen. Your files and personalization will not change. Your PC settings will be restored to all of their defaults, and all of your Metro-style apps will be kept, and all the other apps like malware and extra toolbars will be removed. I'm going to return to that part in a second. And then if you really want, like say you're done with your PC, you want to give it to a friend, donate it to charity, and you want to reset your PC and start completely over. Well, here's the other option. You click Getting Started. Here's what's going to happen. Your personal files and apps will be removed, and your PC settings are restored to their defaults. It's just like your out-of-box experience. We've got the Samsung developer preview machine set up to do this. Now, you probably immediately went, wait a minute, I do the clean install, and then I install more than Metro-style apps. I'm going to install Visual Studio, I got a bunch of tools. Well, it turns out what we've done to enable folks like you is there's a super simple command line tool. You get everything set up, you run the command line tool, and that baseline becomes your refresh image. So it's super easy. Now, one of the reasons you might want to refresh your PC is because I gave you a preview of a feature I want to show later, is you want to do some performance work. You want to understand what's performing on my machine, how does this machine perform. You might want to build a bunch of software, you might want to build a machine out and then see what it's like before and after you install your apps, a whole bunch of things. You might want to compare different machines, different setups. So one of the things that we've done is we've taken the tools from our labs and we've built the Windows Assessment Console. And this is a way for you to run standard performance benchmarks on your hardware and then be able to compare it over time on your hardware or compare it to different machines. This is something that's available in our Windows deployment kit. It's really cool. You just go and you run these different suites of tests. In fact, you could do media experience, base Windows experience, boot and shutdown, hardware performance. We could do Windows 7 perf overall. We could even do things like run your battery down and give you an estimated battery life for that machine, even idle energy efficiency. You could actually build your own series of tests and take all the tests that we provide and group them into a way that's really unique for you. And so then when you run the test, you get this really nice little chart, and it tells you all the things that are going on in the test, like this is video playback, so did I have frames dropped and frames rendered? You get these little graphs, and then they line up and compare themselves to other machines or other runs that you've done. And this is all it's actually on the preview as well, and it's there available for you to take advantage of. Now, of course, one of the key ways that you maintain control of machines is by remoting in and using remote desktop. So, of course, we built a Metro-style remote desktop app. So how's that? So let me launch remote desktop, and here's a Metro-style app. Now, I'm now fully Metro, so I can see, you can see it's really fast and fluid. Now, the remote desktop client and the desktop is still there, has all the additional security features and things like that. I can share connectoids and things like, but I'm just going to go and remote into this machine. So here I am, remoted in. I'm now remoted in on the start screen for another PC. Now, here's something that's super cool. I'm using a mouse and a keyboard for all this, but these monitors have USB ports and actually have touch digitizers on them. So I'm now remoted into a machine, and now let me touch this machine and pan. But there are all these other affordances in the UI, and of course we've made them all easily available. So if I'm just down and I go to the bottom of the screen and right-click, I actually get control of the terminal remote desktop client, and I could bring up the remote charms. And so these are the remote charms that I could go see. I could also go back in the bottom, and I could do things like bring up a keyboard. Because say, for example, just for fun, you're on your Samsung Developer Preview, and you want to remote into your machine at home, you still have a keyboard that you can use virtually against that machine at home. Super cool way to interact with that. We actually provide connection status and also access, if you're running an app, to the app bar of that machine. So I'm going to click here, and then these are all, these along the top, just like Internet Explorer, using the standard Metro-style controls, will be all the machines that you're remoted into with a live preview of the desktop that you're seeing. So that's all with a Metro-style remote desktop client. So now you've got remoting. We've showed you local stuff. Now let's take a look at running some, I don't know, virtual things. A few of you might be using HyperV on the server. I'm running a 64-bit client with SLAT, and this is HyperV running on Windows. We got a powerfully enhanced HyperV Manager, all sorts of new stuff here. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new virtual machine. I can step through the wizard, new virtual machine. I can allocate memory. I can enable HyperV to manage that memory dynamically for me if I wanted. I can choose my network connection. I've got internet access connection set up. I specify the VHD for storage or use an existing one. I could also just go and install the operating system from a boot drive. I could even use the ISO. And so here's the ISO. There I've got some ISOs running over there. And I could just go ahead and keep running that. I could start it from right here. And you guys know the drill. I just want to make sure you knew that we got HyperV in the Windows client for you to use. And of course, speaking of HyperV, here's some VHDs and ISOs. I can double click on this VHD, and that's going to open it. And just like it's a local drive, it's actually going to mount it as a drive right there in the new Explorer. I can go ahead and eject that, and that drive will go away. Here's a handy little ISO. I could right click on it and mount it. I could also use the ribbon and mount it. I've got the new ribbon collapsed here. I could go ahead and mount that ISO. ISOs get mounted as DVD drives, and then you could unmount them and mount them just like you would expect. And so super cool way to interact with everything. Now, it turns out what we've also done is enhance the desktop. So we've made the Windows professional platform even better for everybody to use in their day in and day out work. We've got a new ribbon with a customizable quick access toolbar. So I can take any one of my icons, I could right click on it and add it to the quick access toolbar. These can stick up here if you want or default to that. We've made a lot of enhancements. Like one of the #1 enhancements we made to all of Windows 8, all of it, is we've added an up button to Explorer. And you could customize this quick access toolbar to have all the buttons that you routinely use if that's what you would like to do. Now, of course, most of us run multiple monitors. Even this Samsung machine is going to support multiple monitors. So I bet you'd like to see a little bit of how we work on multiple monitors. Well, of course, the good old Windows P command still works. And I'm going to go ahead and extend that monitor. Now, you notice this desktop background is letterbox a little bit. So let me go ahead and extend this to 2 monitors. You're going to see both monitors up there. And now notice how that desktop spans those monitors and is completely filled. That's because we finally enabled you to have a desktop background that fully spans multiple monitors. Now, you're probably wondering, like, hey, the taskbar. So here it is set up as a default. And so let me right-click on the taskbar and bring up the properties of it. Now, this is the new taskbar property sheet, and it allows some new options for dealing with multiple monitors. So right now I have it set to always to showing everything on both taskbars. So if you're a kind of person that just moves back and forth between all of them, no big deal. But what about if you want to, if you actually want to have something that's unique to each taskbar? So only apps that are running on a particular monitor are visible. So then you notice everything fell off the bottom of the second monitor down here. But now I'm going to go ahead and drag this Explorer window over here. Watch this. Oops, there it shows up. And notice now the running state of this Explorer window isn't there anymore. And if I actually right-clicked and ran another instance, you see it starts up where the other one is, but then I drag it over here. Now it's running here and running here. If I close it here, no longer running there. So that's just a few of the options that we have for the multi-monitor. We also have one that duplicates them on the main one, and then if you have 3 monitors, then the other 2 are going to be unique as well. So a couple of things on multi-monitors. Now, one of the things you're probably going is, wait a minute, how does this all work? Well, here we have the start screen, and it's on your main monitor. And but what if you want to shift it? Like, say, for example, you've got some app you want to run, like you're going to run Visual Studio here, and then you're going to want to just test out the apps over here. Well, that's pretty easy. You just hit Control Page down, and it zips over to the other side. And over here, back and forth, whee! Okay, so, and we also have, that was a keyboard shortcut, and we also have a mouse command and a touch affordance for doing that very same thing. And so we have full control over the monitor layout and how we work, even with the new start screen and Metro-style applications. So lots of stuff there. Now I'm just going to go back to single monitor so everybody can see what's going on a little bit better. And I just want to make sure everybody understands that, look, I'm a keyboard person, and I just want you to know that we thought first and foremost of keyboard people just as much. So I'm going to go ahead, like, what's my favorite thing to go run in a keyboard? I do CMD, and all of a sudden I'm in search. So let me try that again so you see what happens. So here I am, start screen, nothing going on, I just go CMD, and I've got that running. And of course I could tab around, I could search for settings, I could do everything. But I picked CMD because it's our all-time favorite, because what is it that you always do with CMD? The first thing you do is I got to run that elevated. Guess what? Right-click on it, see those options? Run as administrator is right there. So that's there for all the applications. Everything in the start screen has these kind of applications just as well. Here's Video Studio Express. I could pin it, unpin it. I could do all the advanced things right there. I could even pin it to the taskbar on the desktop after it installs and installs on the start page. But even cooler, I'm going to type CMD, Control-Shift-Enter, and I'm going to start an elevated command prompt just like we always have, just like you would expect to. So straight from the start screen, you have all the power of launching and starting applications in Windows just like you would have always expected. In fact, you've got keyboard shortcuts for all of these really cool things. Like I can hit Windows C and bring up the little menu, the charm menu that shows everything. I can even do Windows F, no matter where I are, and bring up search and start searching for files and for apps right there. I can also bring up if I'm in a Metro-style application and I just want to stick to the keyboard, I can do Windows Z, and the app bar is going to show up for that application. Then I tab across, use the settings, hands never leave the keyboard. So full use of the keyboard and the mouse, even within all of the touch-first Metro-style applications. So we earlier showed you Internet Explorer 10. Yeah, of course, the whole reason for this is because we don't want you to compromise. We want you to have the full power of your PC, use the device and the form factor the way that you want to use it. That was a pretty bold thing that we set out to do. Here's Internet Explorer 10. This is actually Platform Preview 10. I started on a blank homepage, but I'm just going to go automatically. I get the autocomplete just like you would expect. And then, oh, the keynote is live. I don't want to do that. That was not what I planned on because I forgot that the keynote was going to be live. And so here I am on the Bing page. And so this is pretty cool because what I could do here is all the things that I'm familiar with. Like, if you know all the keyboard shortcuts for using IE, they all still work. Like, say I want to go, first it's full screen and immersive, again, that Chromeless experience, but I want to go ahead, I like this Bing page, I want to go and clone that. I hit Control-K, and there's another tab. How do I know there's another tab? I right-click up there, 2 tabs. I want a blank tab, I hit Control-T, I get the same start screen you would have seen in Internet Explorer 9 with all of my frequently visited pages. In fact, I go here to the Wikipedia page for HTML5. I can even do something like select something like HTML5, and I can do Control-Shift-L, and it'll do a search and sign on to and do a search within that. The same as if I can type Control-E, and I get the search page, the search query for Internet Explorer. So all of these features for using the full-screen Metro-style browser, all the keyboard browsing works just like you'd expect. I can do things like right-click and say copy link, open a new link in a new page. Oh, oops, I lost it. All of this continues to work just like you would expect. In fact, let me show you Metro-style IE a little bit more on this machine here and bring this up, because I want you to understand that this is Metro-style IE, but it's the same HTML5 JavaScript Chakra rendering engine that's IE10. And the IE10 that's on your machines, which supports both, let me show you one more thing. The IE10 that's on this machine, you could also go here and right-click, and I could also open this up in desktop view. So here's the desktop frame of IE. So if you want to stick to the desktop frame, you could do that. All the window management, all of those capabilities. It's right there. It's the same rendering engine that you would have seen in Internet Explorer 10. The same rendering engine is across the same as Metro and in the desktop browser. Going back to this tablet, I want to show you the Internet Explorer 10 Platform Preview 3. So that's what's in the builds that you have. It's Platform Preview 3. Here we built a touch IE test drive. So how many of you have had fun with the IE test drive, seeing fish swim? Well, here's some cool stuff that you can now do with IE 10. This is a multi-touch capable thing. So here's one finger, here's two fingers, here's like 5 fingers all swooshing around. And this is all HTML5 JavaScript running on hardware-accelerated Internet Explorer 10 Platform Preview 3. So pretty cool stuff. Now, Windows 8 is a product that's designed for everyone. Everyone around the world, no matter what your abilities, no matter what languages you speak. And I want to make sure you see some of the features that we've built in to make Windows 8 universally accessible to people. So I'm going to bring up the Magnifier. And Magnifier is the one that we've seen in Windows 7, but we've greatly enhanced it to support the Windows 8 Metro-style UI and the desktop as well. So I have these cool scroll bars on the side that light up. I could reduce and increase the magnification if I want. Then I could also scroll over to the side, and this is a touch machine, and then I could go over here and touch out and show you the charms that show up, all using the magnifier. And that's pretty cool because now I have full view and full access to everything. In fact, if I hit the start, now even if you're a developer and you don't normally use these tools, you can actually zoom in and just see the pixels on a live tile and debug things really easily. And one of the really neat things that we've built is that in this 2D surface, you can sometimes sort of get a little bit disoriented. So if I take my thumbs and I hold them on both sides of the monitor, you're going to get this cool light-up map that lets me find where I want to be on the screen. And then just as I let release, then it zooms back into there. And this is just a way to make the product accessible for everybody. But let me show you a few more of these kind of options because I think that they're super cool. So I'm going to go up here and show you go to the ease of access settings. And so we have ease of access settings to support Metro-style apps. That's why Antoine showed the little checkbox. We want you to test your apps running with these settings. But, what if you've got just a giant monitor, a 4K monitor, and you just want to take advantage of making everything bigger? So I just clicked on Make Everything Bigger, and now when I'm using this, you notice now all the tiles are 2 across and much larger. So this is an ease of access feature, but you're also going to find it pretty useful if you've got a lot of pixels going on. So oops, not there. I'm going to go here and go back to the control panel and turn that off really quick. And, we've also got a lot of support for people all around the world. So I'm going to go into search. And as I'm searching, I can search for apps, but I want to bring up the on-screen keyboard. So we have a bunch of different keyboard layouts and a bunch of cool support. Like I have all the languages here that are installed on a machine, and I can quickly switch my on-screen keyboard to different languages and have a whole lot of fun with that. 3 years of Russian in college is not going to help me now. And so you have full access to all of the on-screen keyboards. You have different layouts. Here's the cool thumb-by-thumb layout. So if you're running your machine in landscape, you can have a great access. We've actually done a bunch of measurements to make this really cool. And we even have a new ink input panel so that you could use ink input. And so let me just show you some ink. One of the sample apps we have is an inking application. And, I've got a pen. Now, this is super important. This is not just using a pen device as a stylus. This is using a pen digitizer in addition to the touch digitizer. So when I go to write and I put my palm down, it's detecting it as touch. But as soon as I put the pen down, then I can also write. And that's an incredibly important part of using a pen with Windows. I can erase, which I just think is super cool. And this app even shows off that this is not just an inking platform, it's a whole hand recognition and writing platform. I can click on the recognize button. Ooh, that was not a good idea. And then I can show you in any language, it works super well. And then finally, I have one more thing I want to show you here, which is that when Julie took her picture and it showed a little more, well, we have the ability to roam all of your settings across your Windows 8 devices. This is incredibly cool. So first, it's optional. But if you sign on to your Windows 8 machine with the Windows Live ID, all of your personal settings roam, your themes, your ease of access, your language preferences, your apps, your web browser settings, your history, your favorites, a bunch of other stuff like Taskbar, Explorer settings, home group, mouse, and your account picture. And if your application wants to roam settings, it does. And if your application collects secured credentials, we can roam those. And Mike showed you some 3G and 4G data access. You can turn roaming off for your machine if you don't want to roam those settings on a 3G network. And this is all powered by Windows Live. And in fact, I just want to make sure you see, if I'm on the desktop, there's that roaming desktop, because this machine is roamed up with the desktop that's in the back as well. But all of this is powered by Windows Live. 542 million people are signing on to Windows Live uniquely every month. And so I think it would be really good to see how Windows 8 gets much better when you connect it up to an incredibly rich set of cloud-based services with Windows Live and use some of the new Metro-style apps that we've written to connect up to Windows Live. So no one's better equipped to do that than Chris Jones, the Senior Vice President for Windows Live. So I want to invite Chris up to do a demo of cloud-based services for Windows 8.
Thanks, Stephen. I want to give everyone a sense of the things that we've been working on in Windows Live and how a little bit of cloud and new Metro style can really bring some new applications to life in the experience. We took the bold step of actually rewriting all our applications for Metro style on Windows 8 and really making sure that they're connected and powered by the live service in the cloud. So here I am on my start screen, and you can see that I've got live tiles right here. It's really easy for me to find out what's going on. I've got a new mail message from the mail from my wife. I've got my calendar up, people are messaging, and I can also see photos that I've shared or connected to the device. If I want to see what's happening with mail, I just click, and there up pops Metro-style mail. This is all written in HTML and JavaScript, and it's connected to my mailbox on Hotmail, but it's also connected to my mailbox at a glance on Exchange. So I've got all my mail applications right here, and I can switch between those. You can see that it's written to be immersive. So I've got the inbox and the message, but you know, if you're someone like me, you got to go to your Exchange account, and you want to actually look at those folders. It's got folders right there, the full power delivered by Exchange ActiveSync to Hotmail, to Exchange, or to other mail services that support Exchange Active.
Right, so this Metro-style mail client manages all of your mail accounts in one place.
All my mail accounts in one place, and because they're all stored in the cloud, I just type my Live ID into this PC, and they all just come down to this system. I don't have to worry about setting things up anymore, because all the settings are roamed through Live. And you can see I can scroll through this list with touch. It does a really nice job. One of the things that I might want to do is actually check my calendar, and here is that Metro-style calendar, and it's also written in HTML and JavaScript. So you'll notice I can actually scroll through the events here, really nice smooth scrolling, and I can scroll up and down here. And if I want to find out what's going on in my life, I look at all my calendars right here. So this isn't just my calendar, but it's also any calendars that have been shared with me through the live service show up here automatically. So for me, my wife's calendar is here, which means I can see what's happening with her and with the kids, as well as what's going on in my life. And again, I can switch between really nice views. So there's a nice week view that I can flip through, or I can even go to month view in the calendar and look at how fast and responsive it is to build this kind of application. And also, again, powered by the cloud, connected to those services. If I want to see what's happening with the people in my life, I can just click People, and let me go back to the top of this. And you'll notice that I've got people, and it's a connected address book. What's a connected address book mean? It means that for all of us, we've got people we know on social networks, work email, personal email, and you want to bring one list of those folks together. So we've written an app that does that. So this is all my friends across Facebook, LinkedIn, my work and my personal account, and I can actually just easily scroll through those and see what's happening.
So through the back end of Windows Live, you know, when you connect up your Live ID to any of the connected sites like Facebook or anybody, you get all of those contacts available in this Metro-style app.
And it's just nice because at a glance I can see their contact information, what's happening with them, and I can go and catch up with what's new, and it aggregates that into a single contact card. So I've got all their email addresses and other stuff that I want to use right on this PC. The next application I want to show is Photos. Photos is a great example of an application that's really designed to be cloud-powered. I take lots and lots of pictures, and probably all of us have tens of thousands of photos because of digital cameras. Some of them are even worth sharing with other people. And they're stored across the different devices that I have. So I have 10,000 photos on my home PC, and I've got photos here.
Mike's got a hard drive for you. If you...
I've been looking for that 3 terabyte hard drive. So here, for me, I've got now a Photos app that keeps track of all of my photos in one place. I didn't have to tell this application my live ID because I'm already logged into Windows. It also is connected to Facebook and Flickr because I've told Live about Facebook and Flickr, and now the Photos app knows about those things. So right in this experience, I can actually just click in and start browsing through photos. And notice, this is again written in HTML and JavaScript like Antoine showed.
And all these animations, this is all built into the WinRT platform.
Using those common controls and platforms. And you can see what kind of a rich experience you can build right from here. So if I want to go look at my Facebook photos, there's some mobile uploads. And notice that these are pictures that I've taken and uploaded to Facebook. And you can see that I had a nice picture from the Build conference. I took that this morning. I didn't have to put that on this PC. It's on Facebook because it's connected to Live. It just came down automatically nice in time for my demo. And then I've got photos on Flickr. You'll see two other things here that I want to talk about and explain a little bit. One is this notion of a SkyDrive. You may have heard about SkyDrive. We've got 100 million people using SkyDrive today. What we've done is really said every Windows 8 user's got a SkyDrive. Every Windows Phone user's got a SkyDrive. In fact, if you got a Live ID, you have a SkyDrive. And it's there for you to put your personal files and things you want to share. It's also accessible to developers. And that's an important thing because it lets you as a developer access SkyDrive the same way you might have accessed the local file system. In our Photos app, we've done that accessing, and I want to show you. So I can click on SkyDrive, and these are my SkyDrive photos that show up in the photo album.
So you're navigating SkyDrive in our data centers right here from this Metro-style app.
Right here in this Metro-style app calling those APIs. The other thing we've done is we've made it so that you can actually connect your devices together through Live. Remember I talked about this notion of photos that are on my other PC. Well, you see this thing called Work. That's my work PC. And I can actually just browse right in here from the Photos app into my work PC.
Wait, so this PC is actually in Redmond behind Microsoft's firewall.
That's right.
You're here behind this firewall, and we're traversing and just navigating your hard drive in your office.
That's right. And because we've got Live ID and a trusted authenticated connection on both of those PCs, it's possible for that tunneling to happen. And just a little bit of cloud to do the firewall traversal, it really goes a long way in making this scenario happen. So let me give you another quick demo on the SkyDrive stuff just to show you what's going on with SkyDrive and give you an example of the power of that when you talk about sharing in this web of apps. So here I am in the pictures library. I navigated back, and what I want to do is select some pictures to share. So I'm just going to swipe to select. And you know, sometimes you just want to go through and find exactly the right photos, so I got those three. Then I can swipe over, click the share charm, and notice that share comes up. Now I'm going to click on Mail to share from Mail, and there's that Mail app right there. Notice that the three photos got captured, and now they're going to be shared on SkyDrive. This isn't a feature that's unique to Hotmail. It's for any mail client you've got. So I can send it right from my Microsoft email address.
And you get autocorrect on the send, and also that whole pane is something you can build as an app developer so that when you implement the sharing contract, you've got a great way to show all the features of your app without the person leaving the context of the app that they're sharing from.
Yeah, and then I've got this connected contact list. So if I want to send mail to my friend Piero, I just type Piero, click it, and there it is. And then I can type a subject, which is photos. And then right from there, I'm done. I click share and send. And so that's going to actually send that off, post it on SkyDrive, and make an online photo album, and then send a reference through the email. The fact that I can rely on that SkyDrive as an application developer is a very important thing because it lets me just put stuff in that storage and then know that users can access it because we've done all the work to host the data center and make sharing possible.
It's really, you're going to see, and this API that you've got available to you is going to be very rich and make it possible for you to integrate SkyDrive storage into your apps.
So let me actually, I just brought up Modern Internet Explorer, and I want to actually show a couple things just for reference. So this is SkyDrive, the website. And here, just to show you, those are those same photo albums rendering in the browser just using a web browser connection. But not only that, there's that work PC that I talked about. And I have full access to that work PC through the browser. Just to prove to you that I've got that full access, there's the portrait gallery right there. And so I can click on that and navigate down to it. And let me just switch to tile view to show you. Those are those photos. So remotely through the browser, I get back to any PC I've connected to Live.
You've shown a lot of photos, Chris. What about some other files?
Yeah, I know. It's not the most interesting thing. So let's actually just go and let's go right to the root of that drive, and let's go into program files. Like, this is really the SQL Server Compact Edition. Maybe I want to go fetch that. So I can fetch any file that I want. As a developer, maybe I've got projects on a PC where I want to go look at the source code for those things, and I'm on a browser somewhere. And just go connect up to a browser, log into that PC, and just go remotely browse to those files. All right, so that's a quick overview of what's happening here. Why don't we switch over to the phone, because if you're like me, you got a phone that you use on a pretty regular basis too, and that's important. So let me swipe up to my phone, and here I am on my Windows Phone. This is Windows Phone 7.5 running on a new HTC phone. And the thing I really want to demonstrate here is that same power of having live and a live service that powers the phone. So what you can see here is, I showed those calendar appointments. Well, there's that same set of calendar appointments coming down to my phone. So on the go, I can see those. I showed those email messages. There's that same set of email messages showing up on my phone. All I did was type in my live ID. And then, if you want to see photos, that's great. There's that same set of photo albums showing up on my phone, including the ones from SkyDrive and from Facebook. Now, what I want to do right now is take a photo and actually show, so that the audience is bright. I'm not going to take a photo of you. I'll make sure I take a photo of the clock right there. So I'm going to take a photo, and here on the phone, you'll see that we've got a great feature we call Camera Roll. And Camera Roll is just a list of those photos that I've taken. So you can see up here, I've got photos that I've taken of folks that are on my Camera Roll. There's Alesh. We were all prepping.
We'll see him later.
We'll see Alesh later. And what happens is my Camera Roll's same API connected to SkyDrive. So it's just uploading photos as I take them to SkyDrive. Now I'll switch to this great desktop PC, and you'll see what it happens for me to go and take that same experience, log in, and be roamed. So here I am on the desktop PC. I can swipe up.
This is a cool all-in-one touch-based desktop. It's for Windows 7.
This is an amazing system. It's built by Acer, and it's got this great touch screen, but also, as you know, there's this ability to tilt, so you can really operate it almost like a table computer if you want to for touch. So here I am. I've got all the things showing up. So there's those mail messages that you can see, which is great. So I can go and say, same mail messages. What I did to set up this PC is the same thing I did for the others. And the phone, I typed in my live ID and my stuff came down. Now I've got my calendar events that I can go check out. I can check out people on this PC. So there are the people showing up. So you can see those. And now notice that it's going and fetching the tiles. So all the tiles are coming down. I can check in on a person if I want to, like Piero. And I can actually see what's new with him, post funny pictures. And I can also browse to his photos, so it's easy for me to stay in touch with somebody. And then I can go to that Photos app. And you notice that the Photos app's going to come up. I took these photos. So let me go back to the top. There's my SkyDrive and my Camera Roll. Let's go into my Camera Roll over here. There it is. Oh, and the photo didn't show up. Classic demo failure. Anyway, just to prove to you that photo showed up, let me go back to my work PC here, to my SkyDrive, and I'll actually go into my photo section here. And let me go up to the SkyDrive Camera Roll, find it really quickly. There it is. And it still didn't show up, so I'm probably not connected to the wireless network, but we didn't get that to work.
Oh, well.
So I just wanted to quickly give you a preview of what's happening with our connected apps and the work that we've done through the cloud. And like I said, we're not releasing these applications today. This is a first look, but we really have written them in the Metro style, as Metro style apps with the API. And a lot of the stuff that I showed you, you're just going to get for free, because the settings roaming and all of that just comes by writing an app. And there are more sessions later on Live and SkyDrive and how you can take advantage of those services.
Cool.
Great.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
So you saw some awesome stuff with Windows Live in the cloud. First, just brand new Metro-style apps for mail, photos, calendar, people. It connects not just to Windows Live, but to all of the services that you want to connect to through Windows Live. You can sync your settings across all your PCs and devices and your phone as well. You've got SkyDrive, not just for photos or just for uploading documents through a browser, but you can access now your own PCs, all of your devices, through the browser or through the Metro-style apps. And, as you learned this week, and they're alive on the build, live APIs for SkyDrive, so you could build your own cloud-connected Metro-style apps that use storage. So a huge amount of infrastructure is available to you as a developer in order to tap into the power of Windows Live. But believe it or not, there's a few things we haven't shown you. There's hundreds of other features in Windows 8. Like I said, this is a bold reimagining of Windows, and so there are a lot of other features. So quick, write that down, take notes. Good luck OCRing that. Okay, so we did show you some apps. We showed you a bunch of different apps. Some of them were fun, like building paper airplanes. We showed you some word games. We've got some animation games. We've got some sensor-based games. We've got all sorts of really cool stuff. Now, where did those apps all come from? They're all samples. Every single app you saw is a sample. None of them are shipping with Windows 8. They're just sample apps that exercise the platform. So how did we build those apps? Well, it turns out we created 17 different teams at Microsoft, and each team had 2 or 3 developers. And then we started a clock. And we gave them 10 weeks to build their app. And that was it. They had to go from scratch. Sounds pretty much like a challenge. And, oh, also, by the way, Windows 8, the build you got wasn't even done yet when they started. So they had a moving platform, moving tools, moving APIs, and they were busy building these really cool apps that you're going to become addicted to. Who were these volunteers? Turns out they were our college interns this summer. And you know what? And 20 of them are right here, right now, who just want to say hi as the first Windows 8 developers. So please give a hand for the first Windows 8 at Metro Salto. Stand up, guys. How's that for a little end of summer event? I got to know these guys pretty well. So we showed you a lot of apps. We didn't even show you all the features of Windows, but boy, there's a lot of stuff here. But let me show you their video of their summer of apps. They had a great time, and so they made this video for you.
Seattle by driving all the way from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I packed up my Ford Escort and headed out.
I packed for Seattle and then left immediately for my flight.
When I first got here,
Boot camp was like non-stop.
It's a full day of just people coming and talking to me about
the APIs and frameworks of Windows 8.
I just got so absolutely excited.
You don't need to be familiar with everything to make a good application.
There's so many opportunities here and so many directions we could head in.
I've met my team already.
It's a lot of fun for us to work together.
The 3 of us bring so many different perspectives to the table. We spent 2 weeks brainstorming and thinking of cool ideas.
We just sort of camped out in front of a whiteboard.
We first decided on the key experience that we wanted to deliver.
We wanted to make sure that we knew at every single frame what the user wanted out of it, what we were going to give them, and really how we should make that the most engaging and best experience we could.
Going forward, basically, we're in code mode, and
we're kind of going into a lot of uncharted territory.
We are going to have to make trade-offs to meet the schedule. Our app's coming together really well.
I am just super proud of my team.
Our app turned out magnificently.
Fortunately, we're not seeing a high number of bugs.
It's mostly been okay. A lot of it's just like little polished things.
People are going to have a blast with Labyrinth. They're going to sit down, put in their headphones, turn on their Slate, and start playing our game, and they're just going to have a fantastic experience.
For me, my role here was to sort of help Windows make the best API they can. I'm jealous of all the people who get to use it in its final state because it's going to be beautiful.
Way to go, guys. So, of course, you benefit enormously from their hard work, because many of the sessions you're going to see this week are all based on the content and the work that we did to help all of them get up and running. There's even a session that they're going to host this Friday that shows off the work that they did over the summer. So let's talk about getting this product out to people. Boy, I bet you guys all want to know the path to us releasing this product. Well, the first thing first, there's a Windows 8 developer preview. It includes Visual Studio 11 Express, Expression Blend 5, the SDK, these sample apps, and the developer pre-release. It's a pre-release product. You saw some of the little snafus today. There's going to be more of them. It is a developer pre-release. But I will say it's something different than we did with Windows 7. You might remember with Windows 7, the preview didn't even have any of the new Windows 7 UI. And we didn't do that much UI. With the bold new Metro-style user interface in Windows 8, you're getting it all now, and it's at the same state of readiness. Now then we have some more milestones. After today, we're going to have, the next milestones will be the beta, then the release candidate, then RTM, and then general availability of Windows 8. Does that sound familiar? It should. It's exactly what we did for Windows 7. Nothing's going to change there. We're going to focus our team and our energy on first delivering the beta for everybody, and that'll be a beta which is designed for more broad use. And we're going to be driven by the quality and not by a date. And so just focus on building apps right now and that update. We are going to do one more thing that's a little bit different, though, with the Windows 8 developer preview. We're actually going to be updating it along the way and sending out some fixes for quality. We're going to keep the Defender antivirus up to date. And so we're going to manage it a little bit as a training for our own update mechanism. And so you should expect to turn on the machine and see updates flowing through this pipe. This pipe already scales to 1 billion PCs, but we always want to exercise it with new kinds of bits on the new platform. There are going to be a lot of ways for everybody outside on the webcast to learn more. Our blog on building Windows 8, on connect.microsoft.com. The feedback tool in the product is very important to us. And also, the customer experience improvement data that we get, that is what's going to drive the fixes that we're going to deliver. Because if we see something crashing or hanging, we're going to work hard to get that fix out if it looks like it's affecting a broad set of people. Our number one focus is on quality. Starting today, though, is a massive developer opportunity. Like I said, it looks like there could be 400 million seats that you could go after with the applications you develop using this incredibly cool new Windows runtime and the language that you choose. And so how are we going to get this code out to more people than those of you here? Well, we're going to let them download this Windows 8 developer preview tonight. So you're going to go to dev.windows.com. It's a site hosted for developing Windows 8. Tonight, starting at 8 o'clock Pacific time, which is 3 a.m. GMT. So all our folks over in GMT get up early. And this preview is going to include the x86 code, 32 and 64-bit. It's going to be available in a couple of variants. You can get it with the Visual Studio and Expressions tools on it, or just an ISO that has only the sample apps on it. Guess what?